There's a fear that lingers quietly in the back of many minds as we age. Not the fear of death itself, but of fading, of becoming invisible, of being placed somewhere quiet and sterile where your favorite chair doesn't exist, where no one knows how you like your tea, and where your stories aren't remembered, only recorded in charts. That fear, it has a name, and for many, it's spelled nursing home. But what if we told you that this isn't your only path, that the future of aging is changing, radically, and you have more control than ever before? Because while the image of wheelchairs and white hallways might haunt the imagination, there are now new ways, smart, compassionate, human ways, to live longer without giving up your independence, your dignity, or your connection to the world around you. In this video, we're not going to scare you with worst-case scenarios. We're going to open the door to something better. 7 alternatives that are working right now, not in theory, but in homes, neighborhoods, and lives across the world. And maybe, just maybe, by the end, you'll not only feel hopeful, you'll feel powerful. Because the final chapter isn't written yet, you still hold the pen. So let's turn the page, on your terms. 1. Home isn't just a place. It's the anchor of your identity, and you can keep it with help. The idea of staying in your own home as you age isn't radical. It's instinctual. It's human. Home isn't just a building. It's the smell of your old books, the creak in the floor you've memorized, the tree you planted decades ago that still blooms each spring. So why do so many people assume that aging means leaving it all behind? The truth is, more and more older adults are realizing that with the right support, they don't have to. Staying home with in-home care isn't a sign of decline. It's a strategy of strength. It's how you protect your independence, not how you surrender it. In-home care isn't what it used to be. It's not just a nurse checking blood pressure and leaving. It's tailored. It can be as light as someone helping you organize medications once a week, or as comprehensive as daily support with bathing, meals, and companionship. The beauty of this model? It scales with your needs. You can start small and grow the support as needed, without ever uprooting your life. Margaret, 78, didn't want to burden her kids. She wasn't ready for assisted living. She just needed help reaching high shelves, remembering her pills, and staying on top of meals. So she hired a home aide for 2 hours a day. 2 hours. That's all it took to turn her days from overwhelming to peaceful. She still makes her own coffee, still feeds her cat, still waves to the neighbor kids. But now, she does it with support in the background, not stress in her chest. And studies back this up. Seniors who age in place with proper care have better cognitive outcomes, fewer falls, and lower rates of depression. Because staying in your own space supports not just your body, but your mind. It tells your nervous system, you're safe. It reinforces, you're still home. And sometimes, that message is more powerful than any medication. So, if you're worried that asking for help means giving up control, flip the script. Asking for help is how you keep control. It's how you stay in charge of the things that really matter: your space, your rhythm, your life. 2. Family can be a fortress. If the structure is built with respect, not assumption, there's a quiet beauty in the idea of returning to your roots, to live surrounded by loved ones, to hear laughter through the walls, to be a part of the daily chaos and calm of family life. But let's be honest, moving in with adult children is a delicate dance. When done with clarity and care, it becomes a shared life. When done with guilt or silence, it can feel like erasing your autonomy. The key isn't just physical space, it's emotional architecture. Multi-generational living doesn't mean slipping into the background of someone else's story. It means becoming a fully present character in the next chapter of the family narrative without losing your own voice. And yes, it can be beautiful. Imagine sharing Sunday dinners again, reading bedtime stories to your grandkids, feeling needed in a way that has nothing to do with age and everything to do with love. But also imagine having your own entrance, your own mini kitchen, your own morning rituals untouched. That's the magic of thoughtful arrangements. James, 81, didn't want to be taken care of. After his wife passed, he moved into his daughter's property, not into her living room, but into a converted garage with its own private suite. He has dinner with the family when he wants, but retreats to his books and quiet when he needs it. They don't babysit him. They include him. That distinction makes all the difference. The most successful multi-generational homes work because of one simple truth. Expectations are spoken, not assumed. What are the ground rules? Who does what? What's shared? And what stays sacred? These aren't awkward questions. They're the foundation for dignity. Living with family can be one of the most empowering alternatives to institutional care, but only when it's built on a foundation of mutual respect, not silent obligation. It starts with honest conversations about privacy, space, noise, help, freedom. It's about letting the older adult define what they still want to do, and letting the younger generation define what they are willing and unwilling to take on. This isn't charity, and it's not dependence. It's an alliance. And when it works, it's emotionally healing for everyone involved. Parents stop feeling discarded. Children stop feeling helpless watching their loved ones decline from afar. Grandchildren grow up with living history under their roof, not just a visitor with stories, but a daily presence, grounding them in where they came from. There's also a financial benefit, but let's not lead with that. Yes, sharing a household can reduce costs and simplify caregiving logistics, but the real return on investment is human. It's that moment when the house feels more like a home because wisdom walks through its halls. But make no mistake, this setup isn't for everyone. It demands structure. It demands that the elder is still seen as an adult with boundaries, not just an extra mouth to feed or an accidental babysitter. It demands patience when routines clash and humility when assumptions crumble. But if your family can rise to that, the result can be extraordinary. A shared life, not just a shared address. 3. Aging in place isn't stubbornness. It's strategy when the home adapts with you. There's a powerful misconception that choosing to stay in your own home as you age is some kind of denial, that you're resisting reality. But the truth is, aging in place isn't about clinging to the past. It's about adapting your environment to support the life you still want to live. And with today's tools, aging at home has never been smarter or safer. The concept is simple. If your body is changing, your home should too. That means rethinking what independence looks like. It's not about doing everything the hard way. It's about creating an environment that keeps you safe and confident, not anxious and limited. Smart design changes like non-slip flooring, walk-in tubs, grab bars in the bathroom, and wider doorways aren't admissions of weakness. They're commitments to staying active longer. And this isn't futuristic theory. It's happening right now in homes across the world. Linda, 79, used to dread getting into the shower. One fall had shaken her confidence, and for a while, she considered moving into assisted living. But then she worked with her son to remodel her bathroom. She added a walk-in tub, better lighting, and a fold-down seat. Suddenly, she didn't need anyone's help. She regained her independence not by leaving home, but by transforming it. The same goes for stair lifts, motion sensor lights, lowered countertops, and emergency alert systems. These upgrades aren't about dependency, they're about control. They extend your ability to move freely and confidently through your own space. They reduce fear, they restore routine, and paired with smart technology, voice assistants, video doorbells, auto-locking doors, they build an invisible safety net that respects your privacy. What's more, these modifications protect something deeper than your body. They protect your identity. There's something profoundly human about waking up in your own bed, surrounded by the smells, sounds, and symbols of your own life. The walls that watched your children grow, the kitchen that holds your favorite cup, the window that lets in your favorite kind of morning light. These things aren't trivial. They are anchors. When you change the home instead of the person, you preserve the parts of life that matter most. 4. Independence with a safety net. The hidden power of modern senior communities. For too long, the options for aging have been painted in extremes. Either you stay home alone and risk isolation, or you give up your freedom and move into a nursing home. But there's a powerful middle ground, and it's changing lives quietly, one senior at a time. Independent living communities are not institutions. They are not old folks' homes. They are vibrant neighborhoods built on the idea that you can live on your own terms, with backup, not surveillance. You get your own apartment, your own routines, and your own space. But when you need support, help with a light repair, a ride to the pharmacy, someone to check on you after a rough night, it's there, on your terms. This isn't caretaking, it's choice. It's structure without pressure, connection without obligation. These communities offer something deeply valuable, freedom with a safety net. And perhaps more importantly, they offer people. One of the biggest threats to health after 60 isn't illness, it's loneliness, the silent kind, the kind that creeps in during long afternoons and hollow mornings. Independent living communities bring you into a place where everyone understands this stage of life, because they're living it too. Ron, 78, was sinking into a quiet kind of despair after his wife passed. His kids lived far away. His house felt more like a memory than a home. Then he moved into a senior living community built around nature and creativity. Within a month, he was carving wood again, walking morning trails, watching classic films with neighbors, and finally, laughing out loud again. These communities aren't generic. Some are built around wellness, others around lifelong learning. Some prioritize quiet and privacy. Others celebrate social connection and group meals. The point is, you choose. You shape the environment, rather than being shaped by it. And the support is there, only when you want it. That's the difference between dependence and dignity. You still do your own shopping. You still lock your own door, but you're not isolated. And that subtle difference changes everything. 5. Technology isn't cold. It's compassion in disguise. When it keeps you safe and seen. When people hear the phrase smart home, they picture gadgets, wires, maybe a tech-savvy teenager barking commands at a voice assistant. But for older adults, smart home technology isn't about luxury. It's about liberation. It's about staying in the place you love without worrying who will find you if you fall. It's about safety that doesn't feel like surveillance. Quiet systems working in the background, giving you and your family peace of mind while preserving your autonomy. The best part? You don't need to be a tech genius. Today's tools are designed for simplicity. Fall detection systems are now discreet, installed into walls and ceilings. No more clunky pendants or panic buttons. They can detect abnormal movement patterns and alert emergency contacts automatically. And smart medication dispensers, they don't just beep. They talk to you gently, remind you by name, and even notify your family if you miss a dose. That means fewer hospital visits, less worry, more confidence in your daily rhythm. Lights can now turn on the moment your foot touches the floor. Thermostats can adjust before you even realize you're cold. Doorbell cameras can show you who's there without you even leaving your chair. And if anything goes wrong, your son, your daughter, your neighbor, they get an alert, not to control your life, but to support it. Harold, 81, lives alone. After his wife passed, his son worried constantly. But after installing a smart home hub, motion sensors, and a medical alert system, Harold not only stayed, he thrived. He didn't feel watched. He felt respected. That's the power of invisible support. The brilliance of smart home aging is that it turns your house into a silent caregiver, one that never intrudes, but always listens. One that keeps your independence intact without sacrificing safety. It says, you are still capable. You are still home. And now, you are safer than ever. 6. Connection is the cure. Why intergenerational communities are the future of aging. Imagine a neighborhood where your next-door neighbor isn't just your age, but also a 25-year-old grad student, a single mom with a toddler, or a retired chef teaching cooking classes to local teens. This isn't fantasy. It's a quiet revolution in how we age. Intergenerational living communities are built on one radical belief: that isolation is not a natural part of growing older, and that connection, not medication, is often the most powerful form of healing. These communities blend ages, not separate them. They're designed for interaction, not withdrawal. Side-by-side apartments for seniors and young professionals. Shared spaces like community gardens, libraries, walking paths, and kitchens. And the magic isn't in the layout, it's in the exchange. Joan, 76, lives in one of these communities in Oregon. Every Thursday, she leads a poetry circle for local high school students. In return, they help her fix tech issues, carry groceries, and introduce her to new music she never thought she'd love. It's not charity, it's not obligation, it's mutual enrichment. The older adults in these spaces don't feel forgotten. They feel seen. They feel useful. They feel alive. And studies support this. Seniors in intergenerational communities report lower levels of loneliness, better cognitive health, and more overall satisfaction. Young people, in turn, develop empathy, patience, and a deeper connection to the world beyond screens. These aren't programs, they're relationships, and they restore something we've lost in our culture: reverence for age. When you live in a place where your experience matters, where your presence influences the energy of the whole community, you don't feel like you're winding down. You feel like you're still contributing, because you are. Intergenerational living isn't about moving backward. It's about moving into the world again, with purpose. And for many, it's the first time in years they've felt truly part of something bigger. 7. Aging isn't the end. It's the beginning of the life you actually get to choose. We spend so much of our lives doing what's expected, building careers, raising families, following rules. And then one day, we're told we're nearing the end, and suddenly, the choices seem to shrink. Move here, take this, accept that. But here's the truth. No one tells you loudly enough. Growing older doesn't mean your world gets smaller. It means you finally get to decide what stays. You get to reclaim time, reclaim space, reclaim choice. And that's exactly what these 7 alternatives to nursing homes are all about. They're not about escaping aging. They're about redefining what aging looks like, on your terms, Maybe for you it means hiring in-home help so you can stay where your books, your memories, and your favorite chair live. Maybe it means moving in with your daughter, but into a space with your own entrance, your own rhythm, and a table you sit at because you want to, not because you have to. Maybe it means remodeling your home so it serves you as well now as it did in your 30s, or finding a community where the people know your name, where support is optional and solitude is respected. Maybe it's about installing smart lights and voice assistants that quietly have your back. Or maybe it's about living next door to someone 20 years younger, because it reminds you that energy isn't measured in age. It's measured in how much of yourself you still give to the world. Whatever path you choose, the most important thing is this: don't let the fear of decline erase your power to design. The final chapter of your life shouldn't be a default setting. It should be an original work, written with intention, truth, and the belief that your story still matters, because it does. So whether you stay put, move in, build out, or join something new, do it because it brings you peace, because it keeps your spirit sharp, because it lets you wake up and say, "This still feels like my life." That's not just aging, that's aging well.